It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome, everybody. We'll see if anybody joins us tonight. It's Friday night as we're recording this on the live. Come up here. Come here. You want to be a co-host? Come up here. The little puppy has a stairway again. Come on, turn around. And you can jump up here. All right, so we're going to be doing the best gun bracket. There's a lot of bracketing going on in the world, and it's a very popular trend amongst the live chatters out there. And we're going to be taking that trend to what they call the next level. And we'll be first looking for my bracket generator tool. I found it, and now we'll be opening up the screen here. And there we go. So feel free to recommend a gun for the bracket. Unlike a lot of brackets that are tyrannical and they just tell you what's going to be on them, we do it in a different way here. We do it in a very communal way. So let's go ahead and start putting some stuff in here. Of course, I'll be picking... Maybe I won't be doing it that way. I'll be picking the guns that I like because nobody else is picking them here. So I'm also going to be using the robots. So let's go ahead and ask a robot over here. Top 32 most iconic guns in USA. Ha! Because I don't care about the other countries. We got a bunch of them here. So we're going to see if anybody joins us and adds to the list. But otherwise, let's just start going into them here. So we got the Kentucky rifle, otherwise known as the Pennsylvania rifle. Called the same thing. Boom. Then we got the Brown Bess. Colonial America's use. I don't know. Brown Bess. I'm putting it in here. Colt Patterson. Putting it in there. The Colt Walker. Put that in there. We got the Colt Single Action Army. It's the 3 Colts, I guess, that are going to be in here. Next, we'll go with the Winchester 1873. I think we'll just stick with one Winchester. And then we got the M1 Garand. And the M1 Cabine. That's the way it's pronounced. The Thompson. Okay, we'll take that. The Bar. I don't think so. The 1911. I think we can handle the 1911. Smith & Wesson Model 10, I suppose. That's a revolver for people that don't know. Ruger 1022. It's pretty big, pretty popular. Then we have the Remington 700, I guess. Sure. The Remington 870. All right. The Mossberg. Okay. Pretty much have to have all of those. Then you have the AR-15. I don't think we have to put Colt in there because it doesn't matter if it's Colt or not. The M4? No. How about the AK? Yes. What does that say? U.S. cultural presence despite foreign origin? Okay, I'll accept that, robot. 17, okay. Glock 17? I think we can go with that. The Beretta M9. I will, even though I don't like it. Nobody's joining us. I guess there's other things on that are more interesting, or no one's on the internet tonight. Or this thing isn't being sent out. Could be YouTube's blocking me. That's what it is. YouTube's blocking me. The Sig Sauer P226. I don't know if it's the SIG. I guess we'll put it in there. But I'm getting rid of the sour part. Oh, no, I lost one of my screens here. Boom. And then we have the Ruger Blackhawk. Nah. Marlin. No. Savage Model 110. No. Henry Lever Action 22. Nah. I'll just put Henry Lever Action in there. I think that'll count. Desert Eagle. I think that's close enough for all the Desert Eagles. FN Scar. Yeah, I'll put it in here even though it's dumb. So then I'm going to put in a MAC-10 because it's awesome. And then we're going to put in an Uzi because Uzis are awesome. Get back to this list. And then the Beretta 82. I don't know what that is. So what else would be in here? I'll just tell the robot to give me more. Ugh, I don't like any of these. We've got the Colt Python. I think we can handle that. Ruger GP100. I think we can handle that. Ruger LCP. That's enough Rugers, I think. The High Point. C9. I think we'll go with that. Oh, a Tech 9. I think we can put that in there. Browning High Power. I think we can put that in there. Savage Model 99. That I think we could put in here. Uh-oh, what's happening here? I got some kind of ad or something in the way. Maybe there is an issue with 32 if I can't cram the last two in there. What's going on with that dang ad? Oh, maybe I can close that ad. Boom, I can close the ad. Okay, so Savage 99. We still need one. I would like to get at least one from the audience, but everybody refuses to put anything in here today. I'll just tell the robot to give me more than the robot will do my bidding. More, and here are 32 more. A lot of Colts, another Winchester, the grease gun. That's a bunch of named ARs. That's interesting. Oh, the Keltec P3AT. Man, that's a tough one to put in there, but I'm going to do it. Keltec's a big company, it can handle it. And the P3AT was a fun gun. All right, so there we go. Boom. Thank you, robots. We now have 32 guns in here. I would have thought somebody would have showed up by 10 minutes into the show. Maybe it's the dog. Maybe everybody's heard this dog snoring and said, I don't want to go in there with some dog snoring. He's standing up and sleeping at the same time. Pretty good feet. All right, well, so I'll put myself smaller here. I don't need to be big. And we'll see if we can't get this thing to be a little bit bigger. Something dumb about this is that it won't. Wonder if I can do it this way. No, I still can't. Oh, I wonder if I can do this, though. Didn't I figure this out the other time? Maybe not. Yeah, that does pretty good right there. What is this? 260%. That means I need to put this over here. I think I figured that out last time also. All right, so we'll get into it. First, we need to random this a bunch of times. Where was that? Ordered. Shuffle teams. There we go. Ooh. And then we go back to here. And so it looks like we're going to start off with the Glock 17 versus the Deagle, the Desert Eagle. So we would go with votes from the audience or the panel. But guess what? There's no audience and there's no panel. This is a ghost show. There's nobody out there tonight. So let's see. Between the Glock 17 and the Deagle, I'm going to go with the Glock, I guess. And I have to give it 2 votes, I think, in order to make it go on to the next. All right. Then we have the Colt Walker, Texas Ranger, and the Ruger 1022. The Walker's neat, but the 1022 is neater. So we'll go with the 1022 wins that one. This will go a lot faster or a lot more interesting if we had people join in, but people just don't join, then nothing happens. We got the Thompson versus the AK. I think the AK is going to win that one pretty easy. Then we get the Winchester Model 1873, so pretty much their first lever gun. Versus the Remington Model 700, kind of a modern bolt gun. I'm going to go with the Winchester on this one. I don't like bolt guns that much. I do like the Remington 700 if I was going to grab a bolt gun, but I'm not. I'm going to grab a lever gun first. So the Uzi and the Mac-10, that's a pretty good matchup. Uzi is from the country and Mac-10 is from, Florida? So Mac-10 for sure. He might have been in like South Carolina, I don't remember. Maybe Georgia. Anyway, so then we have the 1911 versus the Savage Model 99. Pretty much have to vote the 1911, right? I don't know if anybody, if there was a panel and we had people out there, then we could potentially see if anybody would call a winner. We'll go through the list here again. Glock 17, Deagle, the Walker, 1022, Thompson AK-47, Winchester 1873, Remington 700, the Uzi Mac-10, 1911, the Model 99, the Keltec P3AT, the Tech 9, the Brown Bess M1 Carbine, the Mossberg 500 and the M1 Garand, the Smith & Wesson Model 10 and the Scar, the 870, the Kentucky Rifle, the Henry Lever Action, the Ruger GP100, the Browning High Power. We've got the Colt Patterson, the Colt Single Action Army, the Colt Python. I think I might be too many Colts in here. Then the Beretta M9, the SIG P226, AR-15, and the High Point C9. So that's the stuff that's all going head-to-head tonight. And next up is the P3AT versus the Tech 9. So let's see. I'm not a big fan of the Tech 9 for lots of reasons, but it's also an interesting one. And I've owned, I don't even know how many P3ATs. So, and I always thought it was cool. It took me a while before did I own it before I knew? I don't remember. But think about it. P3AT. It's a 380. So they named it the P3AT. And I thought that was pretty cool. All right. Next up is the Brown Bess versus the M1 Carbine. I don't like either of these that much, but we're going to win versus the Carbine or versus the Brown Bess, right? And if we had some panelists, we could chat about the Brown Bess being what it is, and then the Carbine for what it is. Let's see. Got Woods out there. Welcome. I'm sitting here talking to myself, it seems like. I'm not sure why people, I guess nobody does the lives anymore. Then we got the, the Mossberg 500 and the M1 Garand. So I don't like shotguns. We'll go with the Garand on this one, I guess. It'll lose the next round. Then we have the Smith & Wesson Model 10 and the Scar. I'm going to go with the Smith & Wesson Model 10 because I don't really like that Scar that much. Then we got the 870 versus the Kentucky Rifle or the Pennsylvania Rifle, whichever you want to call it. And I don't really like shotguns, so I think I'll go with that Kentucky Rifle. I call it the Kentucky Rifle because I like Kentucky more than Pennsylvania. I think the Pennsylvania Rifle would probably be first, though. We got some voting going on from Woods out there. So then we got the Henry Lever Action versus the GP100. I don't really like lever actions from Henry. I don't like Henry, so I'm going to go with the GP100. He's getting kind of... Oh, you know what I'll do? Put you up here. We're trying to get some panelists, trying to get some people voting, but Woods is the only one participating tonight. Oh, I should do this. Show this on the screen. There you go. Well, there you go. Puppy was trying to sleep standing up, so he finally fell over, and now he's laying down. Oh, we got the Browning High Power. Put that in there because of Bob. And then the Colt Patterson. I don't really like the Patterson that much, so I'll go with the High Power, even though it'll lose really quick. Then we have the... What's this, Eaton? I've been known to eat. Colt Single Action Army. And then the Colt Python. I'm going to go with the... That's interesting. Probably have just as much fun with either of these, but I'm going to go with that Python, I guess. I'm going to go with Single Action Army because I want one from the olden days. When I'm voting on this one, it's on some old one. Then we got the Beretta M9 and the SIG. Oh, look, two guns I could care less about. So I'm going to go with the SIG because I don't like Beretta. And then we got AR-15 versus the High Point. I think you have to. I think, is AR-15 going to win this whole thing? Like, probably. So we'll go with that. Woods went with Single Action Army also. All right. So unlike weak, narrow brackets, that's the term for people that only do 16 slot brackets. It's called narrow bracketing. People with narrow bracket issues, that's all they can do. We're doing a 32 bracket, which is probably why a lot of people couldn't show up for this one. It's a little bit too much for them. But now we're back down after that first round. We're down to what a regular bracket would be for the lightweights, a 16 round bracket. All right, and because we randomized and then did a round of voting, we now have a different matchups here. So first one's Glock 17 versus the Ruger 1022. And remember, this is for the best gun. So, of course, we're going to go with the Glock 17 on this one. That'll win over the Ruger. Then we have the AK-47 and the Winchester Model 1873. Interesting matchup. The AK-47 will, of course, win that one. Let's see. We'll move on to the next one, which is the MAC-10. And then the Colt 1911. And I think in this case, it's obvious since they're both 45 ACP that the MAC-10 will win this one. And then 1911 didn't even make it through 2 rounds. It's a massive upset. There was a time when the internet would have broken. There would have been a rift in the internet. There would have been a call on the ham radios when the 1911 fell that quickly. They'll talk about that in the future, maybe, but they won't. Let's see. Then we have the Keltec P3 AT versus the M1 Carbine. 2 guns that not that many people like. I guess I'll go with the Carbine because it's, a real gun. Then we'll go with the M1 Garand versus the Smith & Wesson Model 10. I'm going with Smith & Wesson Model 10. The Garands are neat and everything, but they're a lot of gun. And they're too complicated for me. It's too much gun going on. I can't figure them out. They're just too big. So then we have the Kentucky rifle Pennsylvania rifle, whatever you want to call it, versus the GP100. I think GP100 is going down at the first and the second round also because that Kentucky rifle is what win us the freedom. So I'm going to go with that one. Then we've got the Browning High Power 9mm Europe gun versus the Colt Single Action Army, one of the coolest revolvers ever made. I think we'll go with the Single Action Army winning that one. Remember, this is a poll for best gun. Best gun. A lot of other bracketish channels out there that'll, go into the bracket realm. They have to stay to the tender topics, the topics that are uncontroversial, topics that don't sit bitterly in people's mouths. We're here to do the real deal, the real topics. Best gun bracket. So SIG P226 European 9mm metric versus AR-15, which a lot of people have already said will probably win this whole thing. All right. Now we're down to, look at how this works. We're down to, I'm going to move this over again. We're down to, I think, 8. All right. What does it say in Model 10? It's his favorite pistol, 1898 until now. Model 10's pretty good. Didn't it go down already? I can't remember. Oh, no, it kept coming. All right, so we're going to have the Glock 8 or 17 versus the AK-47. This is what most people would consider to be the perfect combo. Everything you need right there. So we got your 9mm metric, European versus metric Soviet. AK-47 is going to win this one, obviously, so we'll go like that. And then we got the MAC-10 versus the M1 carbine, and the MAC-10 will win that one because, again, nobody's in here to challenge any of my votes here. Then we got the Smith & Wesson Model 10 versus the Kentucky rifle, and this is where the Smith & Wesson Model 10 goes down to the Kentucky rifle. And then we have the Single Action Army iconic revolver from Colt versus the AR-15 iconic rifle from Colt. Is the Single Action Army going to win over the AR-15? This is where an interesting debate would have gone on if there was somebody on the panel and if we had people voting up there besides Woods. I don't think he's happy because I think he voted for MAC-10. But let's see. I'm going to have to go with the AR-15, I guess. Again, a lot of people have suggested that that's going to win the whole thing. Now we'll move over, and it's getting real. It's getting real. We can pretty much have it even on this little tiny screen like this. And look, at a lot of people, they shy away from the 32 option bracket. Oh, it takes too long. It's too much for us. It's too much to carry, too much weight. Here we are, 24 minutes in to a 32 option bracket. That's what efficiency and a well-run bracketry can do for you. We're down to 4 options left. Best gun bracket 2026. Every one of these votes, every one of these results, solid, well thought out, verifiable, scientifically accurate. Here we go. AK-47 versus the MAC-10. This is a tough one. These are 2 classic, iconic, amazing guns. And I think we're going to have to go with the MAC-10 winning that one. It happened. Now we have the Kentucky rifle versus the AR-15. I think the Kentucky rifle is going to win this one. And then we have the MAC-10 versus the Kentucky rifle. This is where, again, if we had people on the panel besides me and the puppy, and we had people besides Woods voting, we would have some controversy, maybe even some debate, some deliberation about this. But everybody's scared to show up. Everybody hates being in brackets that are this long. So I think the MAC-10 is going to win it. Boom, that's what happened. MAC-10 just won this bracket. 45 ACP.
Shit. Ninja? Ninja! Ninja!
It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.